in podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
It is episode 186, Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken, and we are live in studio, Royal Oak, Michigan. Welcome to the show. Sitting with me is all of the hosts together for a definitely a somber yet fun event. As I brought a little treat from the upcoming closure of Cellarmen's. I brought some coffee cider.
All right.
And
trying
some
to make it there. Oops.
Spanish coffee cider.
Oh.
So we'll be drinking that as well as plenty of other things going over the news of the day. And
What are you doing
These
over
damn
there?
Facebook or these are YouTube ads. I tried to get some Grim Reaper music going, and
Dude.
yeah,
Or do tap.
We don't need that.
Taps.
so
StarCraft.
I haven't cracked anything open yet, so I do need to get something
what
in
do you
my
want?
one of the ciders.
Well, we have coffee or Spanish or
So one of them, just
Anyone.
grab a can.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why this is such a hard concept.
well, there's options.
You're
so-
just like knocking stuff all over the place, aren't you, Matthew?
Well, let's start off with Nick. How you doing today?
The part-timer is back again.
Yeah, we thought you left. Like I sold your shares of the company.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't get paid.
or did he just bring his booster seat this week?
Damn. And there it starts.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
So what do you got over there? What are you starting off
I got the Kitty Vitty iceberg. I still got a couple bottles of that. Hopefully my friend went up to St. John's this past week or something like that. And then I got a bottle of the Bourbon Barrel Age Imperial Mayan Mocha from Oddside.
with? How old is that?
How old is that?
I feel like they haven't made that in a minute.
It's late last year.
Late last year.
So September. So it's almost a year.
Rob, what's going on?
Holy shit. Today is like a very, very busy day.
You still trying to catch your breath?
Pretty much. I went to the day job, did a half day there, and then had a private trivia event out in Ann Arbor. So headed there and then basically had to fight my way back through traffic to get all the way back to my house, walk the dogs, grab the beers. There was a FedEx package that was absolutely needed, so I had to run to FedEx, grab that, and then come here, obviously like right at the nick of time. So it's just pretty much just been running around and haven't had time to just,
Calm down
and get my bearings. It's just been nonstop since 9 o'clock this morning. But right now, I just cracked open because I did make another stop on the way back home and stopped at Holmes and got a 750 of some King Cold Brew, which is pretty much like one of the only cream ales I like.
Are cream ales like gozes to you? Like, or sours, I should say?
No, it just, for some reason, I don't know. It's just, for a lot of them, I don't care for the style. Just, I don't know, the profile, the flavor that I get from them. The gozes and sours is just, just not a fan of, overly sour or overly bitter that, I just don't necessarily care for.
Matt, what's going on?
Ken, Mercury is in full retrograde.
I just realized that you're still not drinking.
Since Axel closed. Dan, you hear this? You're killing my liver. Dan Riley, you're killing my liver.
Maybe you're the reason why they went out of business. They knew you were going to stop spending money there, so they're just like,
I'm
well,
only drinking to protest Axel. I'm going to make a statement. And I'm going to sink the craft beer industry as a whole
Single-handedly?
until Axel comes back. So, Dan, if you're hearing this, until you make some sort of announcement, I'm going to stay dry in July.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why there's some sort of solidarity over a brewery closing as opposed to a brewery just doing some stupid ass shit. I mean, I get it, and it sucks that Axel's closed, but I mean, I feel like there needs to be some more solidarity in some other situations.
I guess I'm speaking flippantly, obviously, but it's corresponding. Like I just said, you know what? I'm going to dry out for a couple weeks, and it's been a busy couple weeks. So
Should have weighed yourself at the beginning and see how much weight you lose for the.
well, I've worked out pretty consistently for the last couple months, and I know pretty much where I was at and where I'm now is like 6-7 pounds difference.
Nice.
So it's really not making any. And I've done the whole keto thing as well, or trying to anyway.
What have you done?
Keto.
I don't know what that is.
So I mean, it really hasn't changed my figure at all.
Why you gotta make
Or
that
like-
sound like the millionaire from Gilligan's Island? Oh my God, I'm taking some keto.
I've been taking some ketosis.
I feel like that's just your every white man voice.
But I think the Spanish is teasing me right now. So this might.
So
be,
he might cave in.
This
is what
might
he's
be my
saying.
correct. It's been damn near 2 weeks. This
Relapse,
is like
relapse.
about as long as I've gone since like I left for college. So
Oh boy.
Well, as we continue to go through the process, obviously we mentioned that Cellarmen's is closing. Cellarmen's opened like 2 weeks after we started the show. And as I was kind of talking to you guys in our little Slack channel that we have, this one hurts a little bit.
it was on your
Yes.
birthday too. It was a really shitty
It
birthday
was on
gift.
my birthday. I'm driving to Chicago, gonna have fun. Went to Delilah's, had some great whiskey over there.
And then
but
Matt fucks everything up.
over my head, it's just like Cellarmen's is closing, and it's one of those. This is the first time where I can admit that I took a brewery I took advantage that this brewery existed and didn't drink enough.
You mean
of
took it for
their-
granted?
Yeah, took it for granted. There you go, not advantage. Took it for granted that they existed and didn't drink enough of their liquid. Even though there are so many parties. Usually, a lot of New Year's usually was the last few years have been filled with Cellarmen's.
But I guess, do you think that's maybe a statement of the whole of craft beer? Is we take a lot of breweries for granted, like they'll always be here, and we stick to what we're usual with until we like leave our bubble.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
I think
really do.
there's definitely a combination of the fact that like I stopped drinking a lot, period. Beer, wine, beer, mead, and cider specifically. I stopped drinking a lot of that. So I think that definitely hindered, but I can't tell you how many times that I've taken dates and stuff over to Cellarmen's just because it's a little different of an experience than your common.
The punk rockers of the craft beer.
The jorts and hot and readies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never a first date, but
It was like your fifth or sixth date.
like third,
Third?
second or third.
Okay, all right.
That's the date of like, is it gonna go good or is it gonna go bad? Is the first date's always the interview, the get to know you.
Sure.
But yeah, I've taken plenty of people over there, and I used to always like after the show, whenever we'd have someone in town like Austin Brothers or T-Shirts Not Beer, or anyone like that, I'd just take them to Cellarmen's because Cellarmen's was right around the corner. But even with the amount of times I've been there and the amount of times that I've taken to go or bought their beers in at stores, I feel like I just did not. I just took it for granted for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely a shame, and it's just like, I'm still trying to get over Axel, and it's just like, both of them, I think both of them, didn't they say that they both were open for 4 years, but I thought Cellarmen's was open longer than that.
So when we first started, I believe Axel was Livernois Tap hasn't been open that as long as Axel has, because Axel was brewing in the old milking it facilities.
We have no video, by the way.
We have no video. Okay,
video.
that's fine. I can fix that.
I think we have audio because we have comments, so that there's at least that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So the Livernois Tap itself hasn't been open the whole time, but Axel was brewing, and they were using. They weren't using the canning line that Milking It was using, because Milking It was in 16 ounces, whereas Axel was brewing in standard cans, 12-ounce cans.
Not always.
When they first started, I was pretty sure.
I mean, I got them at a Color and Cambria concert, Coheed and Cambria, whatever the name of the band is.
No, and no.
At the Fisher, I bought a 16 of City or a 16 ounce of.
Well, so
their
City
Mother
used
Handsome or
City IPA used to be a Milking It in 16-ounce cans.
Yes.
Okay.
So like City Axel was another Milking It production. That was their IPA. That was in
They had
16-ounce
Jet.
cans. Jet was their black
I don't
IPA.
think they canned that though. That
They
was
did.
Did they?
Yeah,
I've never
it
seen
might have
that.
been slow release, like
Yeah.
a small release, I should say. Brick, obviously, they're Irish Red. So
Snow.
Snow, yep. those were the beers. And then when they went to Axel, they didn't brew all those beers. They had different beers, and they were brewing at a 12. Because I did a tour of the facility from Tommy McGee's. I went to Tommy McGee's, and they had invited us all over as like some random group. We got into this giant, like 16-person van, all like 25 of us, and went over
US
to
curling team.
the Royal Oak facility, and they gave us a little tour. We drank some beers, and then headed off to the New Way bar.
Yes.
Over
there
in
on,
Ferndale.
Like 9 Mile and
Yep.
Woodward.
So this was the facility in Royal Oak. They had closed that facility a while ago. Axel did.
yeah, right after they opened the Livernois tap.
I think so, yeah.
And that's when they retracted from distro into the whole
Yep.
here only kind of thing.
So I think you had a milking it beer, because the transition from milking it to Axel was less than a year.
Well, all I can say is it was with Crazy, and it would have been in 15 or 16-ish. So I suppose, wow, that was a while ago. So
Yep, I'm actually looking up right now because we've had Dan Riley on a few times. He actually came to sub for me. I think there was a day where I was trapped in Charlotte and couldn't make it to the show on time, so he came in and fit. But Axel was actually on episodes, I was about to say 17, but he was on episode 32 when we had Matt and Renee Greff on from Arbor Brewing, and that was May 14th, 2016. And I believe actually Dan brought a can of Brick that day. So, and then of course we had him on early last year, January 2018 was when he was promoting a Very Stable Genius.
Yeah.
The beer,
I
Very
remember
Stable
the,
Genius.
Oh my God, the backlash that was coming from
I wonder
that.
how much for a can would go on black market.
Probably not much. I mean, it's probably 15 to 20 at most.
Really?
I mean, it's a
might
high
have some
it's
in
a
my
high
fridge.
gravity.
I got a can of it still.
Yeah,
but
it's
the
a
thing
high
is,
gravity.
also VSG changed from batch 1 to batch 2.
Yeah, it went from a malt liquor to
No, it went from an imperial wheat to a malt liquor.
There you go.
And then there was the barrel age version of it, which they on the menu they just called it BA Very Stable Genius, but to I guess some of us we refer to it as Dolt 45.
Oh,
It's damn good beer. And also just real quick, a shout out to Ashley over at Holiday, who after Axel closed, he basically just had he bought a bunch of barrels of Axel and put that stuff on the canning growler machine, and then put some Axel on. So
Those of you listening right now, definitely go check out. I know the Dominic episode, which is episode 10 from December 4th, 2015.
Damn, we've been doing that show for this long now?
Yep. The
Damn.
Dominic episode is on the archive, so it's a completely different feed. But the Cellarmen's and Pure Brews episode, which we had Ian on as well as Shannon, that's on both the archive feed and the regular feed. That's one of the special shows that we kept through the archive because we didn't want to remove all 100 of our first episodes. So check those 2 episodes out for sure, as well as you can see. I believe Cellarmen's was on Beer Tour Guy episode number 15. So check that out. That was just a year ago too. Man, things change in a year. That is for sure. As new places are opening, new places are closing. I actually went to Paw Paw yesterday.
Oh.
And I checked out their new digs. They moved back in March, I believe. Mm-hmm. And place is beautiful. I was talking to their head of marketing, and she was telling me that so at their old facility, they were selling mead, wine, cider, because they have a winemaker's license, but the MLCC still hasn't signed off the transfer of the license from their old brewery to the new one, so they can't sell any of their mead, cider, or wine right now.
They're just probably
there's
itching
somebody
to
else
do
that
it.
I heard that was kind of dealing with that too.
Is
Is there something? Are we missing like a head of an MLCC or what's going on in Michigan? Because it seems like the last 3 or 4 months, the MLCC has really been up everyone's ass and to the left.
without a doubt.
What's crazy is that I had within the past week and a half, I've had so many conversations with people within the industry, and not just brewers, mead makers, cider makers, distillers, talking about the MLCC, and there's a lot of issues that are going through the Brewers Guild. And a lot of people are feeling that the Brewers Guild is not representing the brewers well enough to facilitate the changes of the industry, because Paw Paw is now, she couldn't remember what number. She was either brewery number 46 or 64 in the state, which is still a very low number, and that was just 8 years ago.
Sounds about right.
Now, with the explosion, now the whole 1,000-barrel thing that we talked about last week, that Dane's actually going to be on the show next week. He's going to be in studio to talk about it.
Okay, we'll have to. We also had another guest on next week, so we'll push them back a week.
So Dane's going to be in studio. I mean, we can have multiple guests.
No.
You
We'll
feel like
talk. We'll talk
what do you
off.
mean? Yeah.
Talk during the
We'll
break.
talk during the break.
Talk during
So
the break.
we're going to have
Speaking
Dane
of
on
which,
next week to talk about the barrelage change, because the industry has changed so much in the past decade. And with that, the laws need to progress a little bit more. And I think there are a lot of things that not only need to change, a lot of things need to change within it. I just noticed something's wrong on the video, so I have to edit it. So Matt, take the conversation.
Yeah. Go with it.
So is Ashley going to join us then next week too? Or are we going to go a full deep dive into the whole market?
See, and I feel like I would love, and that's the thing, is that actually Dane and I actually talked about that last Wednesday. After he had said that he actually had a conversation, or the topic came up with a meeting with the guild, and it seems like things
Let me guess,
might be.
it didn't go well.
Let's just say that things might be progressing, but it's just the problem is that it's the guild, and you're talking about a guild that has potentially I believe members that are part of bigger breweries that this doesn't affect them, and it's not going to be something that they're really going to. I mean, hopefully it's something they're going to be concerned about, but it kind of feels like maybe it's like for people who are on the guild that this number and change this number is not that big of a deal, that they consider it being a lower priority. And
Yeah, I mean, we said, I think it was last week, it's 30 breweries or 35.
Yeah, it's
affects-
about 28 breweries, that the 10,000 level, which would mimic Colorado, but the other stage, which is 30,000, would add another 7 to 8 breweries to that
So, I mean,
list.
we're thinking at max, if it goes balls out, we're adding 35 breweries, which isn't even 10% of the market.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those people that have already been dealing with distributors and all that stuff, why would they even bother with it? I guess the only way I would feel that it would change drastically is if it gave a clawback period to where if, we talked somebody, Rockford Brewing, I think is who we mentioned, was at like 1,060.
Yeah, like just above the limit.
So the only way I would think that you could potentially get the Brewers Guild around to it and to really light a fire under their ass is to say anybody who's taken on a distributor who still remains under either 10,000 or 30,000 breweries, they can retract and self-distribute until they then reach that max again.
I mean,
But then they have
10,000
to
or 30,000 barrels. Said breweries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
barrels. So
barrels.
let's say Rockford, if they had, I'm sure they probably have a distro contract. If they were allowed to leave that distro contract currently until they go back to 10,000 barrels, and then at that point they would then have to go back to, that distributor, but at least they could grow themselves as
Yeah.
opposed to, through distributors.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only way to light enough of a fire. Because if you have 4 or 5 breweries like we currently do, trying to start a riot in the county jail, that's not going to happen. But if you get a whole wing of 35 breweries, that might cause enough friction to where you really
Full-blown
start
Attica
something.
in your hands.
All right, guys, we are live, facebook.com/BetterOnDraft. Every week we are live. We have people talking in the chat room today, and it's actually getting a little bit of a conversation going on right now. Eric Smith was talking about Cellarmen, saying he's only been there 3 times. He feels oversaturation means more of these closures are coming soon.
Hold on, but I want to stop and talk about Eric Smith specifically.
And actually, can you get that Cellarmen's can over here? Because I would definitely love some.
There you go.
So
Hogging
Eric
shit.
Smith-
Yeah, bring it over here too.
There's 3 cans of each, by the way, the regular cider and the coffee cider.
Eric Smith, our friend, partially of Ashley's, right? Is it that Eric Smith?
I don't know.
Well,
It's not letting me check his
Okay.
profile on
So
Facebook.
Eric
at the moment.
Smith has talked about the craft beer desert in Metro Detroit. I think he would call it south of 696 between 275 and 75.
Yeah, actually, I remember that conversation because we were talking about how there's-
96 to 696,
76,
275
okay.
to 75. I think he included Grand River in there for some reason.
Okay.
But it seems like that's an area where he pointed out there's no craft breweries. It's crazy how there's population there, but there isn't craft breweries. Well, guess where Cellarmen's is? Smack dab in that desert. Guess where Axel is? Smack dab in that desert. So is the desert growing? Is the craft beer desert growing?
you think about that section and what's left. I mean,
Urban Rest?
Urban Rest.
Brooks just opened.
Brooks just opened.
The Wab.
The Wab.
Bee Nectar.
Bee Nectar. Supernatural.
Shrams.
Shrams. Start to run thin right now.
But I mean, that's it. But I guess that's where we're seeing the loss of breweries, right? It's not like, Shipwreck died, but Shipwreck never really got off the ground.
They never got launched.
Sure.
That was so good and so subtle.
But like,
I mean, it's
So,
true,
so
isn't it?
Eric Smith is clarifying 275 to Southfield, 696 to 96.
okay, so I guess Eric Smith, then, do you think that the desert is drawing down from Southfield, maybe even into 75? Because, that would then bring on Cellarmen's. That would account for Axel. I don't think anything north of 696 has gone bust lately.
Well, I mean, and he's basically what he's saying here is that he's talking Wayne County. So, I mean, if you look just purely, so let's just say you just purely look at Wayne County, that's essentially everything that we just mentioned. I mean, actually, with exception to now taking out, Axel, taking out Urban Rest.
Well, they wouldn't count because
they wouldn't count because
they're east of Southfield.
they're north of 8 Mile, so that
But he
puts
said
them open count.
696. Ken said 696.
696 to 96, 275 to Southfield.
So what I'm saying is the desert's getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Our beer climate is changing to where it's moving east of Southfield into 75.
It seems like our beer climate is changing because everybody's fucking drinking White Claws.
Well, I would think White
Wow,
Claws
I
are
think that
delicious.
opens up into a news article. there.
That opens up to a lot of conversations in regards to what you can and can't make under a brewer's license, and
But it also depends on how you make it.
that's very true too. We do have another person in the chat. Rick is saying that if we can have a bar on every block, why not a brewery on every block? Craft still needs more market share.
Craft still needs people who can actually get loans and get the money to actually make a brewery and be content with being in debt with about $1 million to $2 million for the next 3 years.
And also, I think you have different. How do we want? So this, what's this gentleman's name? Rick.
Rick.
So Rick, I think you have a point, but I think you got to think the bar that you have on every corner. You don't have a dive bar on every corner. You might have a dive bar on one corner, but you might have like a bar and grill on the next corner, and like a sit-down restaurant as well on that corner. And it really seems like a lot of the breweries are trying to be the sit-down higher-end bar versus the dive bar. And as much as I say that's the wave of the future, there's very few breweries that are content with doing so. Like we
Right.
had 734 Brewing on, was it last winter?
Something
And
like
they were
that.
talking about how they have, $3 pints. They try to keep their standard light.
And they
cream.
still keep it low. They still keep
And
it
that's-
relatively
that
low.
would be in line with a dive bar. I know Brooks out by you
Yeah.
has 2 for Tuesdays, where if you bring in somebody new, you get $2 pints.
Yep.
But most breweries are $5, $6, $7
Yep.
for a beer.
They have the like 3 or 4 tiers. Yeah.
So it's coming to the point where, it's still a business.
And then whether or not they actually have food.
Yeah. So it's still a business, and I think you've got a point, Rick, that if all breweries wanted to be like dive bars and not give away their beer,
No.
but have a business idea like a 734 Brewing where they just want to be the meeting hall and not necessarily a Eastern Market where
Right.
it's more of an event-based kind of space where you're going to spend $5.50 to $7 on a beer.
Yeah.
But I think you expect that going in based on the location and where it is and the ambiance.
Yeah.
So, there's two different business models, and I don't know the economics of a brewery.
The funny thing is with both of them is that they have, they have the support, so to say, in restaurants that are around them. Because with 734, you've got May's Cantina, you've got Sticks, you've got oh my God, it's like the only place I ever go to, but I can't think of the damn name of it. Sidetrack. You've got Sidetrack. Of course, they have the somewhat competition that's down the street with Cultivate, but there's a quote unquote like food program that's around them, and then you go to Eastern Market and you've got Vivio's, you've got Supino, you've got Burt's.
Cutters. I walked into Cutters one time and I was like, "What?
Cutters.
What did I just walk
In regards to Eastern Market, though, really, unless you're Vivio's on a brunch morning and people are getting their Bloody Marys, or your Rupert's every single goddamn night, there's not much competition in regards to the bars over there. Like, there are bars, but they're not, for lack of better words, they're not competition.
No, because Thomas McGee's.
Jeez.
Well, that's if you count Tommy McGee's over at
in Stash over there.
What's that sandwich shop next to it?
Well, you have the what do you call it? There's the bar Collect right across the street too. So if you're including Lafayette Park as part of Eastern Market.
Yes, because we'll talk. That's another off the air conversation.
Speaking of Eastern Market, shout out to Nelson Sanford, and by shout out I mean fuck you.
Jesus.
But I don't know. I just think back to the idea is there's different types of bars, Rick, and there's different types of breweries. Everybody has their own different plan and thought process, and it's going to lead to different ways to collect a paycheck.
Now, I want to go back real quick because we were talking about the distribution, because we're bringing up Eastern Market. We're talking about distribution and the hole that distribution has. I think a lot of people want to self-distro, but I think they only want to self-distro to an extent. If I'm Rockford Brewing and I want to sell to the bar that's 2 blocks away, I don't want to have to go through distro to sell that one keg of beer.
Yeah.
Sure.
When you reach a certain point, you have to sell all of your kegs to a one facility. You can't. You can distro up to 1,000, but the second you hit 1,000, that distro license means that you're distroing all of your beer now through them. So whether it's M4, Oath, Powers, JP O'Sullivan, whatever. So with that in mind, I would want to think that Eastern Market would want to sell their beer to Tommy McGee's and not have to go through a third party. Whereas when they want to expand, they're going to go through whatever distribution the channel they want to and be like, hey, we'd love for us to get to, say, let's say outside of the Tri-County area, so Washtenaw. They want to get into Ann Arbor. They want to get into Beer Grotto.
Okay.
So they don't want to have to go drive an hour to deliver one keg to the Beer Grotto, so they're going to pay a third party, a distributor, to do it. And I think not holding these breweries that want to get their small local footprint by themselves, build that rapport, and get people, because their whole goal is to get people that are local to come to them, that are at Vivio's to walk over to Eastern Market.
That's your Cellarmen's right there. That's your example right there of getting the locals to your facility. And you got a bar who's willing to support you guys. And was it House of Shamrocks? Is that where they distributed a lot? House of Shamrocks?
Who is that?
Cellarmen's?
Cellarmen's? Yeah. I mean, I always saw it on the marquee that they had Cellarmen's on draft.
So that's like basically what you're talking about. That's like the best example that you can think of when it comes to wanting to self-distro, but you don't want to pay a distributor to take it 200 feet across the street.
Right.
Basically.
I mean, actually, the place where I had my the private event I hosted, the place called the Session Room out in Ann Arbor, they had Cellarmen's on tap. It was
going to be a commodity in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it was definitely. I was like getting ready to. I was setting up, and then I'm going through the list, and then I see Cellarmen's. I'm like, oh fuck, come on. Damn it.
We appreciate everyone talking in the chat. We got a lot of stuff going on, people chatting in the chat. What's probably happening, though, is that they're probably sitting at home and, earlier in the day, they went over and said hi to Jack Zatuna over at Zatuna Liquor, got themselves a 6-pack of beer, maybe a cigar. It's a gorgeous night outside, so they're sitting on the patio. Maybe they're getting ready to build a fire for the night. They're going to do a little bonfire, smoking a cigar.
They're fighting off fish flies.
For all you people on the lake, yeah. And yeah, they are just enjoying something that they got from Zatouna Liquor. I know you could probably still get it right now, but they probably have Cellarmen's over at Zatouna Liquor right now in cans between the Off Arena and the Moscow Miel. Go check them out over on Rochester Road, just south of M59. Amazing selection of everything you need from beer, liquor, wine, cider, mead, cigars, sodas, White Claws. We're laughing, but that's
man.
the whole White
That
Claw
is
industry
that is
not White
the-
Claw, hard seltzer.
The hard seltzers are what's hot right now.
I've been on this trip since they came out, man. You guys,
well-
you guys laughed at me when I
Well,
was.
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah?
We did. But
You laugh at me anyway, so
yeah, we did.
Well,
But we went to Perrin for No Rules Day, and we had those clear coasts, and we were drinking those
Y'all were drinking
left.
those.
I mean, well, the three of us, not you.
Yeah, I was drinking those left, and that was it. And that was done.
There was no right, is what you're saying.
There was no right. There was no
All right,
right.
The three of us on this side of the table, three out of the four of us, left over right, and they're not going away for a while. I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon.
Unreal. It's just the way they are taking over kind of the business, and it I don't know. Is this? I mean, do you feel like this is just going to be a every summer thing? Is this going to cut into, even into the winter time where people sometimes tend to get those winter warmers and get something a little bit stronger, or is this just going to be, like that? I don't know. I wouldn't really call it a bridge between like ciders and meads and whatnot. But I mean, it's being an FMB, it's just. It's just it's a new alternative.
So I think it could be like one of something that you start the night with.
That's how I end the night.
So,
Damn.
so hold on.
I went to Delilah's, then I finished the night with half a 6-pack of White Claw.
Nice. So for my wedding in the bus going from the church to the reception hall, Royal Oak Farmers Market, we were pounding White Claws on the bus from
Our choices were
Township,
White Claw and Miller Lite.
Yeah,
so
well,
basically the
but-
same thing.
Yeah, and then we
hot flavored water and faint lime flavored water.
And you know what? We basically emptied the bus by the time we.
Well, we
got
did
to-
because I had to go into the wedding
Yeah.
and grab like a bunch of beer because we were still stuck on the bus.
I know. I don't. Yeah, whatever.
See, and that's the thing. For me, I would rather have the Lagunitas hop water than.
Well, hop water didn't
Hop
exist
water?
when we did that, but I did get to play the "It's for the Bride" gimmick
always works.
by cutting in front of the line of everyone and
Wait,
being
you
like,
did that?
"Oh yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
oh yeah." I went in front. I'm
did
like,
that at
"It's
my-
it's
at my
for the
wedding?
bride," and everyone
I
looked
think I did
at
that
me.
at your wedding too,
I think you probably did.
because I think they stopped serving drinks during food time,
Probably.
and I said it's for the bride. And I got Angela and myself a drink.
We just got the photos back from the videographer because we hired a videographer to put a video together.
9 months later.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But no, there's like a whole bunch of other photos outside of what our photographer did, and it's like a different view of the wedding. There's a couple of you and Angela together.
There's another story to that. No, there isn't.
No, there isn't.
When talking about rules, because we were talking about the MLCC earlier, there is something interesting that's going on in Minnesota right now that I wanted to bring up before we take a break.
In the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
And they are making a law that's going into effect in October that says breweries that produce 20,000 barrels or more would not be allowed to sell off-sale products, which means growlers to go.
Really?
Damn.
Now there is one brewery that does not sell beer to go at their brewery, and that's Surly. My dad figured that one out when I asked him to go to Surly and get me beer, and the bartender had to tell him where to go to get the beer that they were selling there.
Oh my
Because they
gosh.
don't growler, crowler, anything like that.
Because they're too big.
Well, no, I think that's a decision that they
was a
made
business
because I
choice.
think they just
All
want people to stay and drink and be there as opposed
Okay.
to selling to go. Like when I went to Cellarmen's today, like I was buying like a 6-pack knowing I'm fully leaving, but then again, I'm also buying a 6-pack that I normally wouldn't. I wouldn't sit there for 6 beers. So But Surly has a full kitchen, and that's the big thing too, is when you have that kind of a place. So Castle Danger Brewery in Two Harbors says it will have to stop selling its beer in growlers, cutting their production by 30% to make up for the lost revenue.
Damn,
Wow.
that is.
So they're also going to have to let go of employees too.
Wow.
So not be you sell beer in growlers, which probably puts you over the 20,000 mark. And because you put yourself over the 20,000 mark, you can't sell growlers.
Well, then
See, and you said that was 20,000?
20,000 barrels.
See, and here we are fighting to get more than 1,000.
Yeah. Kind of puts things into perspective.
It really does. That, I mean, you've got this brewery that is hitting that limit and is having an issue.
So Eric Smith says that he thinks Surly might not do it because of the law, or a law that's in effect right now. I, on the other hand, don't know because I wasn't there. My dad was, and he doesn't know much about beer in the first place. He just picks it up for me, which is
that's an awesome dad, if you ask me.
hey, just as much as when I go and I pick up beer wherever I'm in town, like I'm going to be in LA next week, so I'll probably be bringing home some more beers, which I actually have a beer from that side of the
Belching
country.
Beaver.
Belching Beaver.
Belching
Yeah,
Beaver.
we got to crack that open this time.
You want to do it now?
Fuck yeah, do it.
We can open it up and start tasting it.
let's
So this is what Dan Formra, host of Better on Draft, says is one of the best peanut butter beers in the world.
Big machine.
Ooh.
And he also says, hate on hard seltzer all you like, but in places like Arizona where it's 110, people love the White Claw.
When it's 110 at 9 a.m. That's why me and my dad, we go play golf at 6. Get that shit done.
Yeah, I'm not happy that I'm playing tennis tomorrow at like 1 p.m.
Oh, good luck.
So it is going to be a
gonna be
not
a
fun morning. That's for
scorcher.
damn sure.
Not a doubt. That's going to be, well, you better just have the ice cold Gatorade just sitting in the cooler. Get ready for that.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, Belching Beaver.
What do you guys think of this beer? This is from Belching Beaver Brewery, the peanut butter milk stout with natural flavor. Comes in at 5.3% ABV.
Dangerous.
Made in Oceanside, California.
This seems a little bit too light for Dan to even know it exists.
At
Are you saying this
5%.
is not up Dan's wheelhouse
Yeah,
normally?
it's got to be at least 8.5%, I thought.
I mean,
No,
the,
10%.
This is not King Cobra, Dan.
the peanut butter just, I mean, it's
Hits
just
ya.
from the nose, it's
Yeah.
coming really strong.
I didn't think it was that much of a nose to it, though. That's just me. But
It is-
but as soon as you hit that sip,
It's very just creamy. You get the chocolate.
ooh,
There's the peanut butter, and I don't know what it is, but for me, there's something that's really off.
I don't think there's a division between the peanut butter and the chocolate. You remember those? I don't know. This might have been before your time, Rob. But they had this thing called Goobers.
What's that supposed to be?
the 1800s?
So Goobers was
I remember the
peanut
Great
butter,
Depression, motherfucker.
Peanut butter raisins, right?
peanut butter and jelly in the same jar.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, now I
Yeah.
remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
This seems
They
like
still make that.
this seems like what that like all the flavors were too mixed to where they
Wow.
I'm getting some weird metal flavor, like right in
Metal?
between. It's weird. It's like I get the chocolate, and then it's like as it's trying to kind of kick the peanut butter into gear, it's like I'm just like
I'm
got
getting
a piece
almost
of
like a hint of like a
aluminum
berry.
foil in my mouth. It's just
Maybe it's you.
not working.
I'm going to be honest. It tastes like I got like a scoop of peanut butter and just put it in my mouth.
I'm
and
okay
that's
with
a
that,
little bit
though.
of chocolate on top of it, and it's good to go.
I'm okay with that. Do you ever eat peanut butter out of the jar?
Oh,
straight?
yeah. It's a great source of protein.
Damn right.
Maybe the
Keto over there.
cider and the other stuff is throwing it off. I know it's just
It's great for hunger cessation and a great source of protein. So
I wonder how this would be with that peanut butter vodka that my wife and I had.
now that sounds god awful. Like I've had
No.
that's a lot
hold
of
on,
peanut
no,
butter going
it's-
on there.
No, it's
That's a
I've-
sin against humanity.
no,
I've
hold
had
on, hold on,
bacon
wait.
vodka and that was terrible.
No, wait.
I've had like peanut butter vodka.
So we went to Steampunk down in downtown Utica prior to the Jimmy John's baseball All-Star game. Had some beers, and they had, they're I think they're trying to get into the craft cocktail kind of thing
Okay.
for now. But they had this vodka, peanut butter flavored from somewhere in Michigan. I think it's called Cellarmen is the name of the company, I think. And we were trying to figure out what can we pair a shot of this stuff with what they had on the line.
Strawberry pucker.
No, it wasn't. They had the Mittens peanuts and what's the
Cracker
one from
Jacks?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Paired that with a shot of this, and it was like explosion peanut butter. My wife loved it, and she hates darker beers, but she loves quads, which I don't understand. But
Damn.
Dude, she loves quads. I don't.
Oh, those are stronger than darker.
I know, but we had that miso ornery, and I think was that a triple or was that a quad?
I think it's a quad.
I thought that was a quad.
Yeah, and that almost kicked all of our asses. My wife, the one that drinks Miller Lights and White Claws, loves quads. Like, what the fudge is wrong with you?
So before we go to break, I want to end this part on a high note. I saw in the news in the New York Post, in Canada, everyone's favorite country to the north, a Canadian driver was arrested when police found a 2-year-old sitting on top of a sealed case of beer in the passenger side of the car.
Yes.
I think we're all old enough to have been way too young to not be in a booster seat or a child seat.
Yeah, I was
We
only
didn't
14.
have booster seats.
No.
You today.
I'm
such
allowed
a
to make
dick.
fun of myself too every once in a while.
Did not have a booster seat at all.
They didn't have them in the buggy, or
Not back then. No. Though at least back then I'd still, even though I was not old enough, I was old enough to go play the numbers for my mom.
Well, of course you were, because your mom knew the person who ran the store,
Yep.
and they knew you, and therefore you could walk in there. And I was still in the age where I could go to the 7-Eleven and buy cigarettes for my dad,
I would just hand him
even
a
though
sheet
my
of
dad
paper.
never smoked. I guess it'd be my mom.
Did she smoke?
Oh, my mother was a big smoker for
Was
a
she?
while. Yep. Not anymore.
Patty!
She hasn't touched it in probably 15 years.
Oh, good for
15 to 18
You
years.
go, Patty.
Get it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. As always, with our breaks, it is brought to you by the Ferndale Set. Go check out the Ferndale Set on YouTube, Facebook. Check out all of their music as well as their concerts locally here in Detroit. This is Brother Son.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm headed for the city, see what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to dictate, make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh.
And we are back. Better on Draft Podcast 186. Still live on Facebook.com/Better on Draft. Check us out every Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern until 9 o'clock. You can join the conversation just like many have so far, including Eric with a K, Eric with a C, Dan, Brandon. We've also had in there Rick, Steven. Check it out. Better on Draft Podcast on Facebook. Follow us, drink with us, enjoy with us each and every Friday night. Now, mentioned in the chat that we were going to be talking about beer trends a little bit, and obviously I came up with I found a post real quick because obviously we talked about the biggest beer trend going in. You okay over there, Matt? You smell something? The Diet Werner is not smelling good?
No, whatever was poured into this. The furry cup.
So before we go, because we showed it on camera, the beer we're about to drink.
So,
But before we go,
Yeah.
here's a from Brian D. Roth on Twitter. At $212.1 million in dollar sales through June 23rd, White Claw has already surpassed its entire IRI sales from 2018, which was 196.7.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's damn.
Damn,
We're
son.
not halfway through the summer yet.
Yep. So Nick poured a beer for us.
so
It's about 2.5 years old.
It's furry.
yep, it's Bell's Hop Slam,
Bell's Hop Slam.
2017.
Meant to be drank with a
Probably-
little age on it
Yep,
for sure.
Yep. This was one of my experiments. I have not had this yet. Matt does not like it.
It's straight honey.
Oh my god. Something turned in that one
Yeah.
and it went the wrong
All right,
direction,
Rob,
that's for
you
sure.
go ahead. I'm gonna follow.
I don't even know if I can drink this. That's such a weird fucking taste. Like I got honey
Honey.
and bitter and
No bitter though.
I definitely got some back hops.
Rob's thinking, and the gears are turning over here.
I see there's smoke coming out of his ears. I think the hamster's doing overtime.
Well, he just took a second sip, so
Yeah, I just took the same feeling as the first sip for me.
I mean, it tastes like barrel-aged orange drink.
Barrel aged orange drink.
you heard it here first on Better on Draft. Rob thinks that 2.5-year-old Hop Slam tastes like barrel aged
Sugar water orange. And a Four Roses barrel.
Not MD 2020.
Oh, maybe. It may actually be that too. No, it's no.
I was okay,
I mean, it is.
that sip was
It's
pretty bad.
it's pretty much exactly what all. It's just like there. It's just this weird tinge to it in the beginning, and then it's just honey.
Honey, like
Honey,
in
yeah,
the
it's
back of
just
your throat?
throwing
Yeah.
it right at you.
Yeah, in the back. Yeah.
So I
The
mean,
first
it's.
sip was good, but then the second sip, I'm like, I don't know about that.
I mean, it's tolerable.
It's not tolerable.
Yeah, that's probably the word I would use. It's definitely tolerable.
But, so real quick question
Hi.
before we get into the continuing the conversation.
Yes.
Hop Slam was the beer that started this show, wasn't it? Like, what was the difference, or was it Two Hearted? Like, what was the difference between
Killian's.
No, what was the difference between
problem?
two day or 2 month?
No, that was Two Hearted.
It was
What was
Two
it?
Hearted.
What was
It
the
was- it
difference
was another
between
Bell's beer.
4-day-old Two Hearted versus
versus
4-week-old
okay, all right.
Two Hearted?
Okay.
Because somebody
That's a
said
Bell's
that
beer, so-
4-week-old Two Hearted, the hops had already fallen off, and it wasn't good. So we had put it to the test. It was me, Nick, Brown, our friends Chris and Jason, as well as Shane Hudson of Old Nation, one of the sales reps for Old Nation, formerly from What I Betties, joined us. And out of so that would have been 5 or 6 of us, none of us could guess or pick out the 4-day-old versus the 4-week-old Two Hearted. So odds are would be because we poured 3 of the old and 1 of the new, and you had to try to figure out which one was which. And none of us could figure out which one was so that was the start of like the genesis of the original Better on Draft.
Yeah.
So we just put a microphone in front of us and started tasting it. So
There you go.
looking at the trends for 2019, one of the big things that kind of surprised me a little bit, not surprised me because I think it's just maybe a little bit later, but there was in 2019 a big thing that started, and that was dry January. A lot of people were talking about giving up alcohol for the first month of January, right after New Year's. And a study was done that 20% of people did dry January. So those who now did they fulfill the dry January is another statement. But these are 20% of people who intended on
That was their
fulfilling.
commitment.
Yeah. So this also included 24% of people in this study did not drink at all. So I guess 44% of people would not have drank in January. Matt's giving me a look.
I got numbers confused in my head.
So if I interviewed 100 people randomly, 24 said I don't drink.
Okay.
Flat. 20%, 21% technically said I do drink, but I'm going to participate in not drinking in
dry
January.
January.
Yes. You follow now?
Now I get you. Yeah.
So, yeah. Almost half of the people in the month of January.
A quarter of the people.
Well, if you talk
Oh,
to
half the people in January didn't drink.
almost half the people in January did not drink, based on
Obviously, it didn't hurt White Claw sales.
Also, I don't know what the hell else was in that hop slam, but it certainly has made this peanut butter milk stout taste infinitely better.
Just wait till 2020 when I pull out the last remaining can I got for 2017.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Dan, you might be right. It might be a tumor. I don't know. But
3-year-old hop slam.
This got really good right now.
Take that.
In 2019, we also saw a little bit of a move in Chicago where a couple breweries started making 8-ounce stubby cans for their high alcohol by volume beers. This would have been Hopewell Brewing, St. Errant, and Penrose Brewing. These breweries were making 8-ounce cans for their high gravity, high ABV beers, and they were charging $6 to $7 for a 4-pack. Because, a 4-pack's basically a
6-pack, ABV-wise?
Yeah, probably.
We've got, I don't know of any other breweries just from my own experience, but I mean, the one that I went to that actually had the stubby cans was One Well. And they had some of the stubby cans when I went out there this past May. And it was different to kind of see those and just look at them and say, hey, wait a minute, this is beer. This isn't like, a can of Coke and, fighting the obesity crisis. And it's just like I'm expecting that when I get a can of beer that I want a full can. And granted, and Eastern Market actually had them too. And like with trivia, one of the prizes, like the team that wins gets a variety 6-pack, and then all of a sudden it's just it was like something like the candy machine broke, or it was basically what was made at the time, and they just plopped these 8-ounce cans in front of me. I said, well, that's new. Where's this coming from? Because I'm not used to seeing those.
We also saw, and I guess this can open up to a bigger conversation because we talk about the disloyalty of the craft beer community, where they have market-only releases, where they're not releasing it out to a major public or releasing it out to a lot of places. Because if your choice is as a beer drinker to go to, and let's use the brewer triangle of Jolly Pumpkin, Motor City Brew Works, and Traffic Jam at Snug, or go a half mile and go to Hopcat and get 128 beers on tap. What is your choice? A lot of people are going to go to that place. And so when you have a new beer and that beer goes into distro, people are just going to the local beer, like growler shop or powerhouse.
Drafting Table does that, right? Same thing?
Yeah, they have specific to the brewery only releases. They'll never put it in a distro.
People lost their shit today.
Why is that?
I saw that.
They had mallow, a mallow and a firkin, and
Mallow and a firkin.
that shit was gone almost instantaneously. And there were people who were
Displeased.
just very displeased because they were just kind of like, how much did you make? Like a milk carton worth, and it's a firkin. It's 4 gallons. Get your ass there. Apparently,
Yeah. When you have that kind of stuff, you definitely see there's a gamble you're going to play. Is that how many people are you going to piss off, or is how many people are you going to make happy?
yeah.
Because you're going to probably piss off more people than you're going to make happy, but how many of those people are going to consciously understand why they're upset, and are they going to take it out on you?
Yeah.
because everyone's going to complain, oh, it's a weekday release, I can't get there because it's, work. Oh, it's a weekend release, I can't get there because of X. Everyone's going to, no one's ever going to be able to make a single event or a single area, a single place. So somebody's always going to be mad. It's just how many people, I think at this point with Drafting Table and their releases, it's how few people can they make mad for their releases.
Hey, Drafting Table, stop making good beer and people will stop being mad.
I know, no shit.
Sorry, we made good. Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing when they came out with Palatable, and that I think it was announced in their newsletter on their Facebook page, and then they put up a post saying, we're out, and then all those people were like, wait a minute, you're out. When'd you sell it? I was like, well, if you had paid attention to, the newsletter, you would have saw that they were selling it.
Witch's Hat went to only posting in their brewery when Trax was going on sale. They didn't even bother posting it on Facebook or anything like that. They would just put it up right on their board that it's going to be on sale this day at this time, and that's it. And obviously the people who go there and the Mug Club members got the Trax, and people who would pay, because they only allowed Mug Club members to buy their beer.
It's different.
I mean, people, I've seen people buy a Mug Club membership to Witch's Hat just to buy the
I
beer.
don't know if you can legally do that, though. Actually, I'm almost confident you can't legally do that.
Do what?
Only exclusively sell it?
Mug Club?
Yeah, just because you can't, like Costco, you can always buy alcohol there even if you're not a member.
Right.
And I think if anybody would implement that rule and would have the nuts to flex, it would be like a Costco or Sam's
I
Club.
believe technically you could buy anything at Costco without a membership.
Really? I thought you had to be a member unless you were buying alcohol.
No, I believe you can buy anything at Costco. It's just that if you are not a member, then I believe they charge an extra like 10, 15%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
In regards to that, the easiest way around it is to host a private party.
Yeah.
And at that point,
Dark Lord Day. that's basically a party. Whatever. Oh geez, is it toppling Goliath? That just I can't remember which brewery has Morning Delight, but they just did their random drawing for people to be able to purchase a ticket to go to that to purchase the beer. And I think it's Toppling Goliath.
I think Toppling Goliath does that. I think there's just so much beer out there.
Well, that's why beer's closing, because there's so much beer out there.
Do you think it's an oversaturation of choice, or just because it's not like there's not enough beer being drank, and it's not like there's not enough craft beer or non-craft beer that craft beer drinker or non-craft beer drinkers can drink. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of Miller Lite being sold and Bud Light and Coors, and
I just think everything's coming back to being hyper local. Like, I think I said a couple weeks ago, why would I drive 20 minutes to Cellarmen's? I mean, I have. When I have two breweries around my house, and I have...
Well, this kind of gets into the next thing, because if you look at a lot of the breweries, especially within the last year, breweries that have come to the state of Michigan, Hop and Frog, what's the Funky Buddha? Not Funky Buddha.
No.
Someone from Ohio
Cigar
that I
City.
can't think of. Cigar City, yes. They came out recently. There's one from Ohio that I can't think of that has like really weird packaging.
Flying Monkey? No.
No, that's from
No, that's
Canada.
Ontario.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out and I'll scream it in the middle of the show. But nonetheless, Founders just reached their 49th state. I think they only have one more to go, obviously.
Is it Hawaii?
I don't know what
I
the
don't think
last
it's Hawaii.
state
I think
is.
it's Alaska.
So you have all these. So do you think it's really hyper local? Because a lot of breweries are still expanding and getting out there.
I think those big breweries, though, that you're talking about, like a Hop and Frog, would you rather put your beer in a state like Michigan that appreciates and drinks a lot of craft beer, or in Wyoming where there's not much of a beer scene? Like, I think we're always going to get beer even though there's a squeeze of shelf space. Just because it's... I mean, where would you rather put it? Somewhere where there people accept and drink different craft beer? Or
I mean,
Thank you. Brandon in the chat helped me out. It's hoof-hearted.
I think it's just... I think with our market, Michigan's tough. And if you're in another state and you're trying to bring your stuff to Michigan,
Good luck.
it kind of feels like you bring it in and there's that initial hype. And then 3 months down the road,
dies
it's like,
out.
who the fuck is Ballast Point?
We've seen that.
You
Oh yeah,
know?
we've seen that live on like if you look at the genesis of our show and just minus Dan who would always bring in.
It was
habanero
either Newcastle or
scalping.
King Cobra.
King Cobra, some Trooper.
Oh, yeah,
Love
he
some
was-
He
Trooper.
loves Trooper.
Love some Trooper. But yeah, it's like when you come to Michigan, I mean, as far as beer is concerned, this state don't play. And you better be bringing, I mean, I guess I would love to see, although I know it would never happen, is that I would love to see what would happen if someone of the likes of Trillium or Treehouse or even Toppling Goliath or, you know, maybe the entire profile of the brewery to come into Michigan or you know, Funky Buddha and see what happens and see how those stack up to Michigan beers, because you look at these breweries that are highly sought after that people want, with, like I said, you know, Trillium, Treehouse, The Veil,
Funky Buddha.
Funky Buddha, Alchemist. I mean, everybody just fucking goes crazy over Alchemist, which I'm sorry, I don't see the appeal. But if all of those were brought here, I would love to see how they would contend with Michigan
Are
beers.
people still now? I don't go into the craft beer groups too much anymore. Are people still going crazy for those New England IPAs now that we have
Definitely.
M43 and obviously all the variants of the Woodshed series, or not even the Woodshed series, like the Boss Tweed and the Green Stone, all these IPA, and then of course you go into the non Old Nation New England IPAs that people like Flavorful 5, Juice Bigelow, these other beers.
I think it's just bad. It's the boards are just like, if you can't find it, there's a trade value. I
Right.
don't know. Yeah, I mean, people aren't trading M43 anymore, but if it's, I've seen a polite shift in the boards where it's, hey, I'm going to XYZ location.
Yeah.
What is there anything that anybody A recommends I get, or B would like me to bring back, which is kind of a
Yeah.
refreshing take.
I mean, there's
Then you guys are the boards
definitely
they're supposed to
there's
be.
there's definitely those posts, and I mean with I think it's Treehouse that I see somebody post like every 2 weeks, and they'll post basically the roster of what's being sold. Hey, I'm going here. What do y'all want? Or the Veil, which, you know, I got a couple 6-packs of stuff from the Veil. There was a guy who had posted that he was going to Angry Chair, which, you know, Angry Chair has been getting a very big following out in Florida.
That's the one where everyone was getting pissed off in the community because the line
Because the
going
line
through
was
the
because the line was so long outside, like 4 a.m. and
Yeah.
in the middle of the neighborhood. And
Damn you having success in business.
Well, I mean, there comes a point where the customers have to be polite to the world around them too. They can't
Yeah.
just be shitheads, and you know, you don't have that kind of like, you don't have the Perrin parking lot where in the middle of nowhere where nothing will happen if you're drinking and
right.
having fun. Same with Dark Lord over at Three Floyds, because you're in that little business area. You're not disturbing people, but if you're causing shit at 4 a.m. because you're waiting for a beer to get released at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
you know.
See, and if, you know, something like that were to happen at Rosedale Beer and Bistro,
Your
I
wife
was
will be out there with a rolling pin.
I don't even know how to even take that. Because
So Brandon from the chat is saying a single can of Juice Machine, King Julius, etc. from Treehouse is going for $50 a can
Julius,
on Michigan Brew MBC.
Michigan Beer Connoisseur, I believe.
Okay, and Facebook groups. So I don't know. It's just a beer.
But I mean, it's also like what you've said before, is that if it's to you, if it's worth $50 to get that can, then
You're gonna end up paying.
you know
you got to have some new fucking money.
you got to have some new fucking money, and you know, like someone else says, that if you like it, that it's a good beer.
I believe that's North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, just south of Baseline Road over on North Center. Go check it out. You know, you can play shuffleboard over there, like a full-on shuffleboard
Hand
board.
shuffleboard.
Yeah, hand shuffleboard.
Yes.
Is that the proper term?
Yeah, because
Kinda
they're
like,
shuffleboard with the stick on the floor.
I mean, maybe that's why, like, I always refer to golf as ball golf, as opposed to disc golf.
Brandon corrected us, by the way. That actually is My Beer Collectibles. I forgot about that site too.
My Beer Collectibles.
Which that I think wasn't that the site that we were on. We were at Parent and you were looking up the.
that was Black Beer Book.
Oh, that's Black Beer. Okay.
Black Book Beer, Black Beer Book.
Beer
one of the
Black
two.
Book.
Beer Black, Triple B.
Something like that. Yeah.
So speaking of which, and this might be a little bit of a pun because this comes from the Worst Beer blog.
love that,
In
dude.
regards to trends of 2019 we didn't see coming, hazy IPA fans embrace Natter Days. So I want to read this to you guys. Hopefully not crack up in the
this
middle.
is so good. Go for it.
So I'm going to mute you guys just in case you laugh because I'm going to try to read it all without interruption. And Nick is loud. I love you, though. It makes sense if you think about it. If your favorite beer is a $25 4-pack of Milkshake IPA, maybe your budget beer will be a $20 30-pack of Natter Days. It's made for young people that have no interest in beer, but who could have guessed there was so many people buying craft beer that don't like the taste of beer. They're successfully converting craft beer drinkers into big beer and being completely honest about it. No acquisitions were made. This isn't Bud Light Mango Limerita with a Golden Road label as slapped on it. This is a malt liquor with artificial strawberry lemonade dumped in it, and people are loving it. The craft drinker doesn't want a premium AB InBev product. They aren't looking for discount BBA stouts. McDonald's could make a decent steak for $6 if they wanted to, but nobody would buy it. They want processed chicken McNuggets and yummy shakes.
Yeah, buddy.
I've had Natter Days once, and that was when Jenna came in to the show and brought us that beer. Have you guys had it since?
Not
No.
since she's been here. No.
I've seen it on like heavy discount at bars, like promotional material. And I can just only imagine how many people are buying that. It wasn't too bad.
It
It wasn't good, but
for a natty beer. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. And that's scary, but yeah.
Yeah, it's.
and
I don't know.
the last trend that I wanted to talk about, and this is the co-founder of the Full Pint, Dan Becker, talked about it, and he refers to the article as Sam on Sam action, and that is the Boston Beer Co. acquiring Dogfish Head.
Nice.
So I kind of want to put it to you guys. It is July 12th, 2019. We're on episode 186. So in about 30 to 40 episodes, it'll be about episode 225 or so. That'll be near the middle of
New Year. Something around New Year.
about March, April.
Yep.
Who is going to be bought and by whom
Oh God. Oh jeez.
do you think is going to buy?
The next big buyout.
The next big buyout.
Next.
So there's plenty to choose from, and it can be a craft brewery, like somebody acquiring another craft brewery that's a big craft brewery. It could be a big name in the Anheuser-Busch, Miller Lite, Coors, Heineken, Lagunitas, so Lush, whoever you think might sell out.
I kind of don't really want to answer that.
Why not?
I got this.
It's just speculation.
I know it's speculation, but
You think you're gonna get like in trouble?
no, it's just because
You don't want it to come true?
Well, no, I kind of don't, because some of the ones that I'm thinking in my head, we've had on the show numerous times, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be a wonderful thing for them if they're gonna, make a huge
Who's
buck.
buying Old Nation?
I didn't say who. I didn't say Old Nation.
Old Nation ain't selling.
You don't think Old Nation will sell?
No, not at this time.
No.
If someone backed up the Brinks truck.
Oh, again, everyone has a price.
Dude,
But
it's
I
like the
give
$1 million man.
If you give Travis
If-
Wicked Weed money,
if-
Travis is gone.
I don't know about maybe Ballast Point money.
okay, either
Yeah.
or. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I don't think, because I as much as we love Travis and as much as he makes amazing beer, I don't think his portfolio is wide enough, large enough.
But
Like
it's deep enough.
Oh, it's very, very deep. But the thing is that when you mention Old Nation to people, what are they going to pick?
I'm 43 in
They're gonna
Boston.
pick anything that's
IPA.
And that's
IPA.
it.
IPA.
No, I'm 43 in Boss Tweet. That's it. They're not going to say Greenstone. They're not going to say Vienna Lager. They're not going to say Vanilliumston. They're not going to say Electron Brown. They're not going to say Brute 43. They're not going to say anything.
That's funny because I totally would say Electron Brown.
Yeah, but you're
That's-
local.
I know.
You're local. You're
I am.
not-
But a lot of these people are local that are buying are local.
But if I went to the most if I went to like pretend the Michigan craft beer enthusiasts is an actual a group that people meet, and we went to a brewery, and I said, name the first Old Nation beer that came to your head.
It'll be M43, of course.
Yeah.
Even though they've made plenty of beers before and plenty of beers after, it's not now. When you go to like Ballast Point, like the whole Sculpin series is a huge thing. So I think if you brought him Ballast Point, money is going to sell, but I don't think there's any other reason he would sell right now.
So what's your
for
thought,
working
Nick?
so hard?
What was your thought?
I think it was Old Nation.
Old Nation, I think,
called
was
you.
definitely one of them.
But by whom?
By whom?
That was part of the question.
Yeah, by whom?
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 Do you think AB?
Yes.
Do you think AB InBev would indulge into the IPA world?
I would if it's Old Nation, I would especially because it's
That
in
would be a good starting point.
My thought is
it's
no,
in
though,
Michigan.
because it's in Lansing. If AB wanted somebody, they would buy somebody that was in a populated area.
I would think Molson Coors would be the first one to go over to Old Nation, unless you're talking Lush.
Molson Coors is only in Canada.
No, Molson Coors is in the U.S.
No.
Or am I thinking Miller Coors?
No, Miller Coors
Miller
was bought
Coors.
by InBev in the States, but they were split to Molson Coors in Canada.
Yeah, but the states Anheuser InBev or
Sab Miller.
Sab Miller InBev is split in the United States. I will put money on this one.
Okay.
Watch with the betting.
I'm not good.
Yeah,
no.
you're under the Mendoza line on that shit. You need to hold
Rob,
off.
do you have a thought?
I mean, I was kind of thinking Old Nation, but I mean, in terms of our breweries here, I mean, I think part of me just, there's some of those other breweries that are still just kind of, as I just mentioned, kind of sitting around the Mendoza line that, they're making some okay stuff, but I don't know if they're going to be able to, get through without any type of acquisition. So it kind of, at this point, I kind of wonder about, like a full acquisition on Shorts. I know that they are, what is it?
24.99.
I mean, I think, and who is it that I forget that owns that position on them?
Well, 19.99 is Lush, and then there's the rumor that there's 5% by another stakeholder.
I mean, I feel like,
But the only public knowledge is technically 19.99 by Lush.
I guess I would say Shorts, and just to throw one out there, I'd say that fill up the profile or portfolio of Heineken.
I've got a big one. You asked for a big one.
I want a big one.
Mark Anthony Beverage
Okay.
is going to acquire.
That sounds like cheating, but go ahead.
What do you mean?
Nothing. It's a
Canarchy.
Ooh.
Overly invested in seltzers. Now they've got more
Canarchy
leverage.
just bought another brewery or acquired another brewery in their portfolio.
But I mean,
Canarchy's got at least 6 breweries in the
I thought they had like
portfolio.
9.
They might have breweries with multiple, but on this list I'm looking at, it's 6.
But my thought is Mike's Hard Lemonade, Mike Anthony Beverage, Mark Anthony. It's Mike Anthony, Michael Anthony.
Is it Mark's Hard Lemonade?
No, but I need to know if it's Michael Anthony or Mark Anthony.
I'll look it up for you.
No, it's Mike Anthony. They have all this newfound flush with the seltzers. They've got to leverage against it out of the FMB market. So I would think Perrin's probably on their radar because they're a competitor. They make a bunch of different liquids that aren't seltzer waters. So I would say
So Mike's Hard Lemonade in the United States, in the world except for Canada, is owned by Mark Anthony. In Canada, it's owned by Labatt.
Yep. North American Brewers, I think, is the. But yeah, so I'm going. Mike's will buy Canarchy. which would be on the, I think, almost on the level of Sam on Sam kind of wrestling size in the
All right.
weight class. What about you? Have any thoughts?
I do. I believe that Anheuser-Busch, the AB InBev giant conglomerate, is going to take out Duvel Mortgat, which is the 5th largest craft brewery in the United States.
And where are they located?
So they're located in California. What's MO? Montana?
Missouri.
Missouri. And New York.
So they're pretty much in AB's backyard.
Yep. And it's owned by, if I'm not mistaken, either a Flemish or a Belgian brewery, Belgian company already. Headquarters is in Brindonk, Belgium.
How do you say that again?
Brindonk, Belgium.
Brindonk. I don't know.
So obviously they make Duvel, plenty of other beers, including a bunch of American beers. So that is my guess, is that they are going to take a huge chunk of foreign-owned property in the United States and call it their own, basically.
Makes sense. Big enough flag to hide behind, right?
Yeah. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.
Mama, please don't make me go. Yeah, I don't wanna go so far from home. Yeah, it's got me riding that wave. I got my money where my mind is, and I like it that way. Ha! You pick me up when I'm down. I sniff you up. It takes me all around. You pick me up when my feelings are down. I sniff you up. It takes me all around. Yeah. I know that you're feeling this way, but please believe me what I'm trying to say. Drink some water for your cotton mouth. Put some drops in and then hit the town. Nobody will know what you're doing secret. All you got to do is just keep your shits together. You pick me up when I'm down. I sniff you up. It takes me all around. Yeah, it's got me riding that wave. I got my money where my mind is, and I like it that way. Ha!
We are back. The final segment, episode 186, Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken, Rob, Matt, and Nick still in studio.
It's Matt Rob. not
Matt Rob, sorry. Apparently I'm still Ted. Let's open a Spanish coffee before we finish for the night. That is from Cellarmen's. Thank you very much. I'm looking at the shirt that Nick's wearing right now. That's a great North Center Brewing shirt, and I'm pretty sure that was made by the folks over at T-Shirts.beer.
Yeah, it was.
It's for my beer box.
Comfy.
Yeah, that is actually the My Beer Box. That was the first My Beer Box shirt.
It was the Virgin beer box.
The Virgin Beer Box. Is it old enough to at least drink yet, or
Only to vote.
Only to vote
Only to vote.
and fight.
And fight. And yeah. So orders will go out again this week. Or actually, orders went out. Boxes should go out this week and should be landed. And we'll be doing a contest. You'll like the My Beer Box page. You're going to take a photo, and you're going to enter to win tickets to the Jimmy John's Brew Fest.
Jimmy John's Brew Fest. That's in October.
October 12th in Utica, Michigan. So we're going to give away a bunch of tickets to the Jimmy John's Brew Fest. All you have to do is enter to win by taking a photo of yourself with some of your My Beer Box swag. Tag us, and you are entered to win.
Speaking of beer festivals, we're going to be at the Summer Beer Fest this year, Friday nights. We will be pouring for Roke Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
So come check us out. Grab a nice glass of Flavorful 5. And what's not a fan?
Continue.
Okay, you're thinking about it. Matt's trying the Spanish coffee from Cellarmen's.
There's a lot of spice in that.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, white people don't do spice, so makes a lot of sense.
If there were raisins in this, that'd be better.
Raisin.
And walnuts.
And maybe some cranberries, some dried cranberries.
I don't get a lot of, it's like the spices are a bit overpowering to the point where it's like I don't get the coffee, I don't get the cider. I get a lot of spice, which
cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yeah, cinnamon, nutmeg. I'm not mad at it. It's just I guess when I'm thinking coffee cider, that I'm expecting that coffee end to come to the other end of it, and it's kind of not there. But again, it's not bad. It's not disappointing. It's just it didn't have the flavors that I was expecting with a coffee cider.
So this description, 8% Ethiopian and Guatemalan coffee cider with cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla beans, and bochetted star thistle, aged for 12 months in imperial stout braggot barrels.
Ooh, okay.
So that was a lot of minutes, or a lot of words. Description.
So I don't.
Does it seem Christmassy?
A little bit.
I get a little bit of. I think that's just the overly spiced notes. So I don't like. I think I don't like coffee meads and ciders because I like coffee, and I don't like thin coffee, and thus this is what it reminds me of is a thin coffee.
You like coffee flavored coffee,
I like just like I like beer flavored beer.
right?
So I think, and this is just me.
Maple nut crunch.
The opinions expressed are solely those of the individual expressing them. They're too smart and good for their own good. Like, this is a good liquid, but I wouldn't call this a coffee cider. I would just call this a spiced cider.
Spanish fly.
Spanish fly.
With Bill Cosby on the label.
Oh,
I would mute
The Beastie
you,
Boys?
but
come on, meow. No.
Would you prefer the Beastie Boys?
I really want to mute you, but the third segment is yours.
Oh no, it's Rob's this today.
How's
Oh,
it mine?
Are we gonna get
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Draftical?
is
You set this whole thing up.
okay?
this is the
You have a sheet of paper in
2019.
front of you, so obviously you spent time on this.
A little, yeah. I spent a worksheet amount of time.
This is the 2019 beer draft.
So are we gonna have enough time to do this, or
We'll
are we
have
just
enough
gonna go
time.
into overtime?
I fucking make the time.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Everyone's gonna put their hand out, and on the count of 3, you're either gonna put up one finger or 2 fingers.
Okay.
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 I feel like we're making this really complicated.
Yeah.
Well, how do we pick who goes first then?
By alphabetical order of the second letter of the name.
A. Okay, I go first then.
E.
I.
I.
Oh. Okay.
I owe you.
So I guess you go first.
Oh,
I
well
wasn't planning
done.
this.
Why, you might
So-
ask?
And ironically, it's inversely proportionate. So okay, so what we've got the 2019 summer beer draft. The categories we have are the light beer, dark beer, long haul beer, bonfire beer, spirit, wild card, and as Rob put it yesterday in the Slack chat, the Mr. Tolerable. Now, I want to clarify Mr. Tolerable. I think that should be the guilty pleasure beer or the macro beer.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
like it's a beer.
I mean, as long as there's, because I mean, and for everybody who's watching or listening, I think there also needs to be explanation on the long haul beer as well.
Yep.
As when we get to it, but okay, so that's going to be the guilty pleasure. Okay,
So like a beer that you can find at a standard Kroger. So I'm pretty much leaning on you guys to either come up with like a Heineken, a
Jesus.
Corona, or a light lager.
all right, I got to rethink that a little bit because I don't think I can find it at
So
Kroger anymore.
the light and the dark beer are pretty self-explanatory. What color is the beer? The long haul is the beer you can drink from sunup to sundown.
Okay.
Okay. The bonfire beer is kind of a wrapping things up kind of beer, or right after you finish a chore, something you want to reward yourself with. More of a high-end long haul beer, like an indulgence, if you will. And then a spirit or a mixed drink is obviously as it stands. And then a wild card is if you want to dip into any of the other categories
For an extra.
or just something completely off the board.
Okay.
So I'm completely unprepared to go first. Go figure.
He's the one who came up with this shit.
So I'm going to go completely off the board like I'm known to do.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go right to the wild card.
All right.
And I'm going to pick. Oh, actually, hold on. We have to make one more announcement.
I mean, I think. Well, and I guess
You're like
I have
you're
a
like
quick,
Marshall and How I Met Your Mother
Yep.
with the game.
I am.
there is. I don't know if this is going to be your announcement, but I had a question. Is that for these particular beers, do these beers? I mean, obviously, other than Mr. Tolerable, do these have to be readily available?
I wouldn't say readily available, but they have to be known. So you can't pick your clone of Pliny the Elder because, like, if you want to pick a Heady Topper or an Alchemist or whatnot, that's fine.
My clone was shitty, but then the original shitty.
The only
too.
other rule, is, for example, and I'm going to use this because, it's not going to come up. If I were to pick Summer Shandy, Leinenkugel Summer Shandy,
Country Time Ale.
that could have been a bingo. Leinenkugel remains an open brewery to select from if you want to pick the Canoe Paddler, the Sunset Wheat, etc. But you cannot pick another one of their shandies.
Got it.
So
Can't pick a variant.
you can't pick a variant. Yes.
So like I can't pick Cocoa Shandy if you pick Summer Shandy.
Correct. So I am going to go to the land of dark beer for my number one overall pick.
Wow.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Taurus. The Hop and Frog triple peanut
Triple.
butter
That was like one of the
porter.
few that you liked too.
Absolutely. So
Wow. Okay. Taurus is off the
So
board.
you can't pick another Oris.
you can't pick an Oris,
But
but,
you can
the
pick a
Turbo
Hop and
Shandy is
Frog.
still available if you'd like. So next on the snake draft is Ken, and the entire board is yours. So whatever position you'd like to draft. go
So
nuts.
I'm going with the readily available pick.
What do you mean? So
The one that I can get at a Kroger. The
so
macro.
the
Mr. Tolerable.
Mr.
Mr.
Tolerable.
Tolerable.
Mr. T. I didn't even think about that until it came.
All right.
I am going to go with, from the land of Coors, Killian's.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Nick.
Is this a snake draft?
It is.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stay in the Mr. T category. Just I want to get this out of the way.
Go Jades.
I'm gonna go PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Takes out PBR. I don't think I have to worry about my.
You can't choose any of the PBR variants, by the way.
No coffee.
Oh yeah, let me get
no
that.
coffee,
I want that
Pabst.
hard coffee, man. I need that shit. All right. So I am going to go. I'm going to go with the bonfire beer first, just to really knock this one out there because for this one I'm just gonna chill the fuck out and I'm not going anywhere anyway. So I'm going New Holland triple mash. And
So that's
since-
all the Dragon's Milks. And that's that is a huge cut into the board. That is for sure.
Yep.
So I will take that out. And then I will also go with my wild card, and I will take Drafting Table's Orange Bruleus.
Oh, that's a good beer.
Okay.
Nick, back to you.
I'm gonna go to the light beer category,
Yes.
and I am gonna go Brew Detroit's Cerveza del Rey.
That's a good beer.
I am so glad that you can get it at Keyworth Stadium. By the way,
That is
it'll
a
be
damn
interesting.
good
We'll see what happens. Who's gonna take Axel's spot at Keyworth, if at all?
I would guess these guys.
beer. Ken.
So we're talking sun up, sundown.
Yeah.
That's another category.
That's the long
That's a
haul.
long haul.
The long haul. So if I'm going for a long haul, I am going to pick Cigar City Maduro.
Maduro. There it is. There goes Maduro.
All right. I'm gonna go over to the wild card category and just close this out. I'm taking these fucking White Claws. To be specific, I'm picking grapefruit.
So here's a question: are all of the flavored seltzers out of the game? Or
All White
Well,
Claws are
White
out.
Claws
White
out. If you want to go over to
Okay.
Parent or
Truly-
Truly's,
Truly or
Clear Coast.
Clear Coast.
You ain't
Yeah.
breaking laws, you're drinking White Claws.
There you go. They're like the Virgin Four Locos for sure.
Goodness.
And then I think I'm going to make this pick because I make this pick every year when we have this.
Blood Orange Honey.
Sheboygan Blood Orange Honey.
That's the long haul or the light?
That's going with. I'm going to go with light on that one. I think
Okay.
you could, but you know what? I don't think you could long haul them because it's like 7% alcohol.
I mean,
You could, but it's going to be a short haul.
I don't think. Yeah. So
Ken, back to you for-
I am going to dark,
Yep.
and I am going to pick for my beer, Funky Buddha. I'm
I'm
so
so
excited.
I'm
I'm
so
so scared. I have one bottle left in my refrigerator, and I am ready to open it very, very soon.
Nicholas.
Staying in the dark category, I'm gonna go Old Nation Electron Brown.
Ah, that's a good beer.
oof. Okay. Well, all right. Then I am going to first go with the light, which, since you stuck with the brown, I'm going to go into that IPA. And for the light, I'm going to go with Boss Tweed. And for, I'm going to take out Mr. Tolerable. And gold chains and all, I'm going with Honey Brown.
All righty, that brings us right back to Nick with the second round, the fourth pick of the second round.
Really quickly, what am I missing?
So we have Nick has long haul beers, bonfire beer, spirit cocktails, and your wild card.
So long haul would be something I can drink.
You can drink all day.
I just had this for the very first time at Freedom Hill when I went to go see Jimmy Eat World, and who was there? Oh, Third Eye Blind. Jimmy
How did you miss them? I would have rather seen Third Eye than Jimmy Eat World.
No, Jimmy Eat
Jimmy,
World.
they have one song.
No, Jimmy Eat World has like a dozen songs.
I mean,
you would be amazed.
The middle.
Anyway,
it.
we'll take it offline.
There's a couple.
Rochester Mills, Gypsy Goddess,
We're at long haul.
Long Haul. I could have those all. I wanted more, but I had to mind the wallet that night.
All right.
I can only imagine how much they cost over there.
They weren't terrible, but it's a Freedom Hill amphitheater. It's a concert venue. You can figure it out.
$9.50.
Yeah, probably about that much.
Ken, you have a light beer, a bonfire beer, a spirit, and a wild card to go.
So we're gonna go with the Spirit,
Sure.
and I am going to pick a Moscow Mule.
Of course.
Of course, you would.
Why do you guys judge me?
Because
Because we know how much you love those damn things.
I don't even know where I want to go on this one. I'm gonna go over to. I don't even know what the hell it's called.
Neither do we.
Can you describe it?
Yeah.
for us? 'Cause, you know, how much you love those damn things.
We are gonna go. We are gonna go to the bonfire section.
So that's the reward beer.
Yeah. We're gonna go Brewery Becker.
Oh.
What the raspberry sour wine that's like 16%? No, it's not the Vardrika. The Vargit Guard, maybe.
As he is looking it up right now.
So, it's
Hopefully
such a
find
great beer that you love that
I bought a bottle of it, and it's amazing. It's one of those Scandinavian words that he uses to pronounce beers that I can't get.
It's just writing in there like something Scandinavian.
16.2%. It's something that I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna get much.
Like,
more
shout
than-
out to another one of my podcasts I listen to, something birds.
Something.
All right.
You figured out.
Raz.
ABV. Vardrika Braggot. There's a Vardrika Braggot is 15%. There's only 2 beers higher, and that's Braggot Becker 2018 and Fruit Braggot.
We'll figure that one off there. But I'm going with that. I know it's kind of hard to claim a beer when you don't even know its name, but fuck it.
That one beer from those guys.
And then I'm going to go over to the Spirit World and get my Ginger Devil from Rusted Crow.
Ginger Devil.
I still think about that. I drank it all when I was up north. That was amazing. Rusted Crow, if you're out there, I could take a sponsorship from you if you guys are not opposed. So Ken, that brings you back. You've got the light beer, the bonfire beer, or your wild card.
You ready for my light beer?
I'm ready for your light beer.
From Great Lakes Brewing, Holy Moses.
Oh. Forgot about that one.
I didn't. How do you forget about that? It's such a good beer.
Nick, you're missing a bonfire beer, a spirit, and a wild card.
All right, so my reward bonfire one, the Great Lakes Roasting Company variant of Flying Buffalo from.
Nice little cherry on top on the night. A nice
are a
16%.
Son of a bitch.
So there goes all the Flying Buffaloes. Are you going to pick Mole?
All 20,000 of them are off the board.
What the... Oh, my God. Okay.
Because if I didn't pick it now, you were gonna. Pick
You
it next.
damn right it was going to pick. That was going to be the next pick. Damn it.
Where would that have landed for you?
I,
The dark beer?
that would land in the dark, yeah.
Darkness, everybody.
Darkness.
Spreading.
So you've got a dark beer, a long haul beer, and a spirit.
In the spirit. All right. So I am going to first take the spirit off the board, and one of my favorite things to make, and this doesn't seem like a lot of people drink the damn thing, it is called a Godfather, which is practically equal parts bourbon and amaretto, and it is smooth as all hell. Then I'm going to take the dark off of the board, and I'm going to go with, since I can't take fucking Griffin Claw, I am going to take Brewery Vivant's Love Shadow.
Okay.
That is a quality dark beer.
Okay. Are you comparing to last year? Is that what you're doing?
No, I should have done that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually texting Matt Becker right now.
Oh, okay.
Trying
Trying to get the beer right now.
Hey, what's the name of that one beer you made that one time that I drank that once?
that one night that I was there, like 1 year ago?
Nick,
No,
back
it sells
to
in
you.
the 750s.
Gonna do the spirit. I've been thinking about this since my honeymoon, and it's a mojito
I
with.
think yesterday was National Mojito Day,
I
too.
know. Yeah. With I want to use the state-sponsored version of Bacardi of Cuba, the Havana Club rum instead.
So just a mojito. Got
yeah,
it.
let's use mojito.
Ken, you've got a bonfire beer and a wild card.
I am going to go with a bonfire beer. Save my wild card for last, because then I could just pick anything. My bonfire beer from Maine Beer Co.
Oh, of course it is.
mean old Tom.
Zoe.
So
Z-O?
Z-O-E.
Zoe? No? Okay.
I wanted Mean Old Tom, but Zoe just like seemed like the right thing to do at the end of the night because it's definitely a sipper. Whereas me and old Tom, I'm gonna slam the shit. I went to that Whole Foods in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and legit they poured me a snifter of me and old Tom on nitro, and it was gone in 10 minutes. Like I don't even know what happened. I was talking to a guy. I was like making conversation, so I wasn't just sitting there drinking.
Right.
And it just disappeared. I'm like, what the hell happened here?
Shit, give me another one.
All right, Matthew.
Oh, I've been debating this one back and forth. My long haul beer has to have some flavor, and I know I'm gonna miss something.
I mean, that's what free agency is for.
I'm gonna just stay in my own backyard, and damn, do I want to go that way or that way? I'm gonna go some Mango Unchained, some
All right.
Baff and
Sleeper pick.
Nice.
Came in late rounds.
The M is silent.
all right, and then I guess I don't know if I could have a guilty pleasure beer since I have no shame, and thus all beers remain my guilty pleasure. I'll drink it if you're giving it to me. Are you okay there, Rob? You okay there?
That is so goddamn true.
Like the way Rob explained Mr. Tolerable yesterday was a beer. If someone gave it to you, you would drink it, maybe begrudgingly, but you wouldn't give it back.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that I would be begrudging to drink is either like a Bud or a Bud Light, but those seem too generic for this category.
I mean, you're always all don't threaten me with a good time. So
I know.
I mean
that's literally
what is
my
there?
MO.
I mean, other than somebody walking up with a bottle of MD-20, or making a brass monkey for your ass. I mean, what else is out there?
It came to me. It's come to me.
This is like one of those like, what do you buy for the person who has had everything?
And that he would politely drink it and not say anything. O'Doul's.
Oh, that's still made?
That and Sharps.
Yep.
They have an O'Doul's red now.
Oh my
Yes.
god!
Yep. They do.
Wow.
So O for O'Doul's, because I don't know what else is. I would be kind of embarrassed to be holding and then just sipping on. And I mean, I could put any Brute IPA right here, like any single one of them. Sasha Brute IPA.
Shout out to Sasha.
Ken, you have a wild card to play with.
I have a wild card. This means I can pick any beer that I want. Any beer.
Or spirit, or cider, or mead, or anything.
Or
that
spirit.
you
I mean,
cider.
just get Le Fin du Monde out the way.
So, no. Great beer, especially for the JLA price point I had. But from a brewery that makes a good triple, Dragon Mead, I'm going to select their alt beer, Dragon Slayer.
Ah.
I already had Final Absolution written. Look at you.
I could have did Castle Bright, Eric the Red,
Castle Bright's
Sin
damn
Eater?
good beer.
Sin Eater, Armageddon. Like, I don't know why you
Nick.
assume Final Absolution.
You
Just-
said triple.
I did. That's what Rob
Yeah.
said.
Nick,
I got my wild card.
truly.
Yep.
No, not picking those. No, some of them are good though. I will say that.
Yeah, they don't suck.
Yeah.
Wow.
You like the lime one? That's like in Missionary. What the? It's in that same White Claws No Laws rule. Come on.
Wow.
Maybe he's gonna pick something like shorts.
No.
Austin Brothers,
No.
Cellarmen's.
See, I was
How did you not pick Ultraviolet, by the way?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah,
that
that-
escape
that-
your
that-
How did that
implicit bias?
That's a little.
implicit bias?
As much as Cody's made it so much better, still.
I'm gonna stay in the dark beer category. I'm gonna go Oddside Hipster Brunch.
All right.
The regular?
Yes, the regular, not the
I thought
variant.
the rye is so much better.
No, we're gonna
Love
stick.
the rye.
We'll stick with the plain Jane.
Sweet potato souffle, Armageddon, hipster brunch.
Rob,
I got
the Mr. Irrelevant pick, your long haul beer.
the long haul. See, and I had two that were going into my head, and for something that is a long haul, something like Ascension's Just Torf is without a doubt something that you could have with a long haul because that sucker's like 3 or maybe like 3%.
See, I thought you were going to start singing, what's in your head, zombie.
Yeah, that's
zombie killer.
No zombie killer, especially no zombie dust.
Zombies take Manhattan.
Leprechaun?
I could do that, yes.
Leprechaun in space?
Leprechaun's in the hood. You got to go if you're going to pick a Leprechaun movie. You pick the worst one.
Are we going with Ascension?
But we are not going with Ascension because we're going with one that Ken just recently mentioned, and I'm going with Dragon Mead's Castle Bright.
Such a good beer.
And no white coffee stout for you, huh? No Eastern Market white coffee stout on anywhere on the board.
I mean,
I would have thought that you were drafting for need right there. That would have gone bam right there.
I'm just kind of talking about stuff that I could buy on the shelf. I mean, if that stuff gets distributed and starts showing up on shelves where I can pick it up readily, you're damn right it's on there. But I was just going off of things that I could go to the store and buy at the store.
I just wanted an alt beer that I could get locally that was good, that wasn't ultraviolet, and obviously not Old 22 because fuck that noise. That's going to do it for us. Better on Draft Podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, North Center Brewing, Zatuna Liquor, Michigan Beer Box, Better on Draft. We are our own sponsor. Sure, why not?
Hey,
T-shirt Stop Beer and the Ferndale set. That's going to do it for us. We will be back next week, July 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us at facebook.com/Better on Draft. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.